Good evening, and welcome to our organ concert. We're hoping to get a little bigger crowd tonight, but a lot of things going on this weekend, and I'm sure the patios are full tonight with this beautiful weather out, so maybe that's where everybody is. Anyhow, just a little background on how this event started. A few months back, I noticed on the side of the organ there was a plaque, and it read, "Dedicated September the 10th, 1944, a gift of the Women's Association." So the Women's Association would have been the precursor to the United Church Women. So in 1944, they donated this organ. So I contacted Cassavant. It's a Cassavant organ. And they sent me some interesting information. So this is opus number 1749, which means it's a 1,749th organ that was produced by Cassavant. It was purchased for $5,300 in 1944. To replace this organ today would cost around $900,000 plus applicable taxes. So we're talking about $1 million to replace the organ. It's a 2-manual organ. John may tell you a little bit more about the organ when he comes up to play. John Hall, with us tonight, he's been looking after our organ for many years. He's an accomplished musician as well as can fix anything that's keyboard. So other information that they sent me was that it was installed by a fellow by the name of George Santori during the month of August in 1944, and apparently the temperature in the church was very hot and barely tolerable for most of the installation. And the other, I sent an email off to Cassavant, and I got 2 replies from 2 different people. The other fellow mentioned that Cassavant started in 1879. That was when they started producing organs. And the organ that they had just had a contract for when I sent this email, which was a few months back, was opus 3,859. In other words, they produced 2,110 organs since ours was installed in 1944. The contract, which I have an actual copy of the actual contract, it was signed in November the 1st of 1943 by the chairman of the board at the time, which is a C.W. McClellan. I don't think there's probably anybody around that can remember him 80 years back, but And one thing I found quite interesting at the bottom, a little caveat in the contract. It is further agreed between the contracting parties that if it becomes impossible to do war for the builders to construct this organ, this contract may be canceled and the purchasers will not be held responsible for the cost. So it was interesting. Obviously, it was during the war years. The war was on the top of everybody's mind. They were worried about the war. What else what other little tidbits did I have here? So this is something else that John can probably also verify. I believe at this point in time, this is the only functioning pipe organ in the town of Napanee. Mary Magdalene had one they're no longer using, and Trinity has one that they're no longer using. And I don't know of any other pipe organs in the town. You aware of any, John? No, I think so. This would be the only functioning pipe organ in Napanee. So it's kind of nice to honor the fact that we've had 80 years of pipe organ music here at Grace. So without further ado, we're going to start the program. And just to get everybody's blood boiling here, we're going to all stand up, if you're able, and sing hymn number 240, Praise My Soul, the God of Heaven. The words will be up here on the screen, or you can use the Voices United. So now we're going to have our own music director, Stephen Lindsay, play J.S. Bach's Prelude Number 1. Following that, Carolyn Reynolds is going to join him with Jesus, Joy of Man Desiring. And then following that, Carolyn and Stephen are going to play the Alleluia by Fred Brock. And then we have Siobhan Flynn, who's going to join with the oboe. And she's going to join. Are you going to play the organ for that one, Stephen? Yeah, so it'll be the organ and the oboe. So I have to thank Stephen for organizing the musicians tonight and the songs that we're going to hear. I sort of started this ball rolling, but Stephen took it all over and did the whole organization. So thank you, Stephen. And take it away. Thank you, Stephen, Carolyn, and Siobhan. So we get a chance to stretch our legs and sing again. So we're going to sing hymn number 341, Fairest Lord Jesus. And the words again will be on the screen.
I just need to go. I'm having a low blood sugar right now, so I need to go and get something sweet.
That'll be in just one moment. So let me see, what other information do I have about the organ here? I have the entire details of construction. Not that I'm going to read them all, but since we have a couple minutes. The console will be constructed with greatest of care. Unless otherwise specified, the exterior woodwork, the organ's bench, and the pedal board frame will be of oak. The interior fittings around the keyboard will be highly polished mahogany or black walnut. The naturals of the keys will be of ivory of not less than 14 cut in thickness. I'm not sure what that 14 is, but anyway, millimeters maybe, I don't know. The pedal board will be concave and radiating and designed in accordance with the scale adopted by the Association of Canadian Organists, or that of the American Guild of Organists. The pedal naturals will be of fine quality maple and the sharps of black bakelite. And it goes on and tells all about the workings and what will be all the pipes and what the pipes are made of, and on it goes. And John is at the keyboard. So John is going to play for us. Fairest Lord Jesus. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. So I'm going to let John Hall is going to play a couple pieces for us. I'm going to let John tell us what pieces he's playing and a little more information about organs in general. And as I mentioned, John is an accomplished musician, and he is the go-to for any kind of keyboard repair, organs, piano, you name it. So John, take it away.
First of all, I have to say this is a wonderful thing that you're having a celebration for the anniversary of the organ. The organ is so important part of worship service, and you should be very proud that you have the only remaining pipe organ in Napanee. Tell you a little story about pipe organs. I play the organ at St. Andrew's Presbyterian, and this is my first post in a Presbyterian church. I learned that the organ is a fairly new thing in the Presbyterian church. I'll relate a story about an organ builder in Clinton, Ontario, Mr. Doherty, very proud of his organ factory. Now, he made pump organs. He didn't make pipe organs, but he was an elder in the Presbyterian Church in Clinton, and he decided that he would donate one of his prize pump organs to his church. So he had his workmen carry this organ to the church. We're talking about 1870, 1880 in that time period. And the organ, as I say, was not in common use in the Presbyterian church. He put on his finest Sunday clothes and proudly marched to church Sunday morning, expecting to hear his prize organ being played. Instead, he found it out on the street. People had carried it out of the church. No organs in our church, thank you very much. Eventually, it was all resolved, and his prize pump organ made its way back into the church and used. In my church at St. Andrew's, the early church there had no pipe organ, but they thought they would use a pump organ to accompany the hymns for the Sunday school, which they called the Sabbath school. And that pump organ is still there. I found it in the basement, and I'm attempting to restore it. It was donated in the 1870s. The church burned down in 1889, and when they designed a new church, they decided to have a space to accommodate a pipe organ. And that was quite a change in thinking, but a generation had grown up accustomed to being accompanied by an organ. So someone, I believe, donated this organ, which came from Boston. There were several good Canadian manufacturers of organs in those days, 1890, and this is the only American organ I know in these parts. Now, one of the organ builders at that time was Samuel Warren, and he installed quite a large pipe organ at the what was the Congregational Church in Kingston. It's directly opposite the downtown public library, and it was used as a Masonic lodge. I think it's a nursery now. The pipe organ is still there, and to my knowledge, playable, just playable. But Samuel Warren also made smaller instruments, and I am just completing restoration of one of his instruments at the museum in Picton. So if you're ever there, the old St. Mary Magdalene Church has their original pipe organ from 1854, making this one of the oldest pipe organs in this area. And the first piece I'm going to play was designed for an instrument such as you would find at St. Mary Magdalene Museum. Very simple thing with one keyboard and a few ranks of pipes, but all mechanical. So at the back of the key is a mechanical linkage which eventually goes to a valve underneath the pipe and opens the air to go through. The organ in Picton is still hand pumped, and this was the norm for centuries. The pipe organs had to be pumped by hand or with a team of organ pumpers. The large organs would have had maybe 10 or 12 men with a feeder bellows strapped to each foot, and they would hold onto a rail and pump away. They had to be alerted before the organ was to be played because the reservoir had to fill up with air. When the organs were, the early organs were hand pumped, it meant for lower wind pressure, and consequently the sound is rather delicate in the old instruments, more flute-like. And as time went on, the organ pressures increased and organs became more powerful and brilliant. So this piece I'm going to play is by Thomas Tallis, and we go back over 400 years for this piece. At that time, most of the organ pieces were based on liturgical chants. And so this piece sounds very church-like, and it is based on the first part of a chant. I am going to make use of the flute stops on this delightful instrument here to give you some kind of sense of what it sounded like. Thomas Tallis, by the way, one of the greatest English composers who lived through a tumultuous time of King Henry VII, Henry VIII, Edward, Mary, Elizabeth, and he managed to keep his head through all of that. That was very fine writing. If you compare Talus's compositions to others of the period, he outshines them all. One notable piece he wrote was for 40 different voices. His Spem in Alium. I had the opportunity of performing this. It was for 8 choirs with 5 voices each. So I guess 8 times 5 is 40. And no one has ever attempted that, and it was an experience. I don't know how it came off. It was pretty dense music. Anyway, let's leap ahead to the late Romantic period. And here's some music by César Franck. Franck was born in Belgium and then made his name in France, particularly when he took the post at the Basilica of Sainte Clotilde in Paris. And there was a very inspiring instrument built by the leading organ maker in France and Europe, Cavaillé-Coll. Cavaillé-Coll organs just have a magnificent, rich sound and a lovely variety of sounds, just magnificent to listen to. A great inspiration to César Franck and his organ writing. And now in this period of time, we're getting away from music based on the liturgy, and Franck wrote this piece just as an entertainment, perhaps as a postlude or for a concert. And now we have drama in the music. I wouldn't say the piece I just played was very dramatic at all. And if your thoughts drifted off to something else, that's just fine. I think Talus wouldn't mind at all. And he landed on a tierce de Picardy, which wakes you up nicely. Okay, so the big organ in France at where César Franck played, probably at least 4 times the size of this one. But I will make use of all of the resources this instrument has to offer, including presets, pistons, couplers, swell pedal, crescendo pedal, and a stop carefully used by well-trained organists, the tremulant.
Thank you so much, John. I'm sure I heard some of those 16-foot pipes in there. It's nice to hear those real deep bass notes in there. Yeah, great, thank you.
Oh, could I just
Yeah,
one thing, Ron? I forgot to mention, I was talking about the Cavaille-Coll organ company in France that César Franck played on one of their organs. The Casavant brothers, and was it 1879 they started? Yeah, 1879. They started making organs, and they wanted to know more about good organ making, and so they went to France and they studied with Cavaille-Coll and brought back that expertise to Canada. And Casavant remains one of the finest organ companies in the world. You're very lucky to have this one. It's a delight.
Thanks again, John, for the playing and for the information. Some interesting information there. Thanks. Okay. I believe. Where are we here? A hymn. We're going to sing a hymn again. No? Okay. That's what's on the. Oh, okay. So you're going to play the other two pieces now? Yes. Okay, so Stephen is now going to play Canon in D by Pachelbel. I don't know, is it Pachelbel or Pachelbel? Or everybody knows this song, I'm sure. It's a very popular tune. And The Gift of Love by Hal Hobson. will sing Love Divine, All Love's Excelling. Our tradition here at Grace is we usually close our services with Go Now in Peace. So we're going to end with Go Now in Peace. So I thank you. Right?
Mingo, I have to go get the music.
Oh, okay. While Stephen gets his music,
Forgot
we'll...
about that part.
So thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoyed our little concert to celebrate the 80th year of our pipe organ. And thank you for all the musicians for your talents. Very much appreciated. Well, I started it, but yes, yeah. And the pipe organ has been recently tuned, I understand, so it's all in great condition. So, as John says, we're fortunate to have the only remaining pipe organ in town. So, yes, anytime, John. All right, ready. Let's do it. weekend and safe home.